So definitely, I mean, from the initial onset, it was more personal for you relocating to Ghana.
It's many things, man.
It was more personal. When did it get
It's
to?
deep.
When did it get to the fact that okay, I want to come and do something to impact people? Is it
Okay.
when you landed, or
Nah, okay, so I'll tell you a story. When I was a kid, I had good scores on like aptitude tests,
okay, okay,
but I used to mess up in class, man.
okay,
I used to just tell jokes. I have practical jokes, pranks. I would have all types of schemes going.
oh for
All
real,
types of,
you,
oh yeah, I was a class
oh
clown,
then
man.
you've changed,
Oh
man.
yeah, yeah. No, it's weird, man. It's weird, bro. I've changed. It's weird. It's like I try to tap back into that person.
Mm,
I can't fully, but I guess that's maturation. But I was bored with school. I didn't
mm,
trust the teachers. School was really easy for me as a kid until I was getting into harder classes and getting challenged. So for me, it was just like, all right, I wanted to mess around, and I liked picking people's brains, and I liked messing. It's like I looked at it like how you mess with a computer. Like, all right,
okay,
let's download this software. Let's play with this like this and see what it does. You know, like a
okay,
tinker. That's how I was.
alright.
So,
I
but
guess you
I'll
wanna
get in
you.
trouble. You're not allowed to do that in school. Yeah, no, you're not allowed to do that. Like that's not what you're there for. So I was
Mm,
getting in a lot of trouble, and like from elementary school to like middle school, seventh up to like seventh grade, I was always getting in trouble. You know, but I was if like like say IQ test intelligent, but not necessarily. Plus, I didn't. And then in sixth grade, they told me middle school doesn't count towards going to college, so I was just messing up. They told me it didn't count. I was like, yeah, okay.
wow.
I'm not gonna try. Then my dad was very strict, so I would get in trouble. I would get in serious trouble. You know, Ghanaian parents, they don't play around.
I know, right?
So I
Especially
would get all types of
many parents that are
disciplines.
relocated to
Oh,
America.
yeah,
Because yo,
it's this pressure there. America's pressure, man. It's expensive. Where we were living was an expensive area.
okay,
So it was like pressure every day. So my dad was like, all right, let's take him to Ghana. Nah, Ghana hit me. When I came to Ghana and came back, that's when I changed.
mm,
Yeah, that's when I started trying in school.
mm.
Yeah, and that's when I started taking things very seriously. Like everything, you
So,
know?
but that's crazy. I
Yeah.
mean, that's crazy in the sense that
Because I saw the poverty.
do
I
you
saw
feel
the,
like it's
yeah.
one of the things where it would help people appreciate? Because I personally know a friend who definitely had the experience coming to Africa. You
Mm-hmm.
know, she recognized that she's privileged.
Mm-hmm.
You know, she's relocated. She's actually relocated back to America, but
Mm-hmm.
there's a different approach. You
Yeah,
know, there's a different approach. She's much more serious. She's much more appreciative, much more content.
yeah,
You know, do you feel like? I mean, this is outside. What we're discussing, but do you
right.
feel like Africa is one of those places when you come in, especially if you're coming in from a developed country,
Mm-hmm.
and you come in and you have the experience, it really has a way of rising you up to become much more serious in life because you get to see the deprivation of things back really in Africa that when you
Yeah,
go back it puts your workload to a whole different level.
yeah,
Does that, I mean, even as a young kid as at that time, it
yeah.
did that to you?
Well, like I said, like in America, the place I was growing up in was like a rich area, one of the
Mm.
richest areas in the country,
Okay.
usually top 10
Okay.
in terms of counties.
Okay.
So I never felt privileged being around my other friends there,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
I felt like I felt underprivileged.
Okay.
Like I used to have to make my own money and all that. I felt
Talk about
underprivileged
that,
because those
though.
kids were
Exactly.
having everything, you know. So,
Uh-huh.
but when I came to Ghana, I realized I was privileged.
Okay.
I had inklings that I was privileged. I had some family members, like I would say my immediate family is middle class,
Okay.
but I would say I had some family members that were, rich and stuff.
Okay.
I didn't see it like I was privileged because it wasn't like I lived at their house or something.
Okay.
It's like I
Okay.
visit, okay, that was nice. Went out for a
Mhm.
nice dinner. Now I'm back to my room. But coming to Ghana, I was like, okay, no, I'm privileged. When I saw simple things like people wanted my shoes, or like somebody wanted my hat, and I was like, this hat, all right, here, like it's not even that crazy of a hat. And we're like somebody asked me for my brush. I was like, a brush? Like you want
Toothbrush?
no, a hairbrush.
Okay.
So
All
you
right.
want my brush?
Uh-huh.
I guess I can get another one. it's easy to get them in America.
I mean,
That's, you know,
because why? Because yeah, it's a big flex. I mean, it's a
it's
big flex when you know that you're just wearing something that you just can say. I mean, hey, Charlie from Yankee, bro. If you like, yo, you have totally differentiated yourself from from the peers, man. It's like they're going to see you as, back here. We actually address it as a dad. You know.
So then I think that was the point where I was like, all right, I can't squander my privilege. Obviously, now I get it. Now I understand why my parents work hard and live in a place we can barely afford, and do all this and go to a culture that's totally different than their culture. They're more comfortable in Ghana, like Ghana is gonna be. So they, dealing with racism. My dad dealt with my dad dealt with so much racism when he first got to America. He had some. My dad is in the medical field, and he had times where people wouldn't let him perform an operation that was necessary. He was like, "Yo, he's black. I don't want a black doctor, or a black medical. He's a respiratory therapist." So it's like, you have to. You literally can't imagine. You can't breathe. You're having trouble breathing, and the guy who's going to help you breathe is black. You're like, on your last breath. That's how deep the racism is. Your last breath, you're struggling to breathe, and you're still racist. So because he was in the South, he was in Texas, where it was worse back then, and I was like, that's 30 years ago. So realizing like, okay, all right, now I get it. Now I understand when my dad yells at me when I get in trouble at school. Like, I was like, all right, I get it now. And before that trip, I think he also showed me Roots.
Roots? Of course.
So he hit me that summer. He hit me like Roots, go to Ghana, come back. I was like, my eyes are like wide open now. Like, all right, I get it. So then I started applying myself. Right, I started applying myself. So then I was like, all right, I gotta make some positive impact in my life. I gotta take what I've been given, right? God given and parents given and whatever else, and make the most positive impact that I can possibly make. So I think I've literally been on that vein since I was like 13,